My sisters used to wait for me coming out of school, and the three of us, two sisters and I, would go off to Hebrew classes one evening a week. So even though it wasn't a particularly Orthodox family, we were still very connected to our Jewish identity. And then there was every Friday night, my mother would light Sabbath candles, and then she would cry. And I never asked her why every time you lit the candles on a Friday night did you cry. And I imagined she was crying because of her identification with some kind of suffering, and I imagined that suffering was to do with the Holocaust. "102 Cable Street, it was a sweet shop. The sweet shop was the place where my mother was born, with her four sisters and her brother, and her family lived. They lived in a shop, and the rooms above a shop. And of course now 102 Cable Street is part of a block of flats. October the 4th, 1936, the fascists under the leadership of Oswald Mosley came marching towards Cable Street with the support of the police, and they, unexpectedly to them, met with huge resistance. Jewish people, it was the Jewish area they wanted to march through to demonstrate their power. The Jews resisted, but alongside Irish dockers, trade unionists, the Communist Party, the Labour Party, there was this mass resistance. The protesters came into our sweet shop and they said, "We need the marbles from your Pomerantz lemonade bottles," because the lemonade bottles use these marbles as stoppers, because we need them to throw underneath the police horses, and that will stop them coming down the street. My father was in the organizing group from within the Communist Party. So there were a number of groups came together, but in the Communist Party, I mean, you've got to think he was just a young man, 24 years old. And, but he was very keen to oppose what he saw as the dangerous rise of fascism. He was part of the organization, so he was there from the beginning, helping to organize the building of barricades and the resistance.
I was taken into the police station, and I shall never ever forget it. There was a police inspector at his desk, and he said, "What is the charge?" And they said, "Assaulting the police." And he immediately put his pen down and walked out of the room, out of the office. That was a signal for about 16, I should think, policemen to come in and beat me up. And they beat me up severely. I was badly bruised and so on. And then the inspector came in and he said, "That's enough." And he stopped them from probably beating me to unconsciousness. I don't know.
I grew up knowing that there was a danger in the world of a danger towards Jews, but a danger towards others. I suppose for a long, long time I've been a supporter of justice for Palestinians, recognizing the illegal occupation of Palestine, that Israel is an apartheid regime, and to be a Jew with people claiming that they operate in my name in the state of Israel. running a state for all Jews, I feel like it's an obligation to speak out.
Palestinians, awake each morning. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Palestinians, awake each morning to occupation at their door. They face expulsion and separation. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. They face expulsion and separation.
There has been appalling and wicked misuse of allegations of anti-Semitism in the past, but in the recent past, around support for Palestine and Palestinians. The accusation that if you support Palestine or Palestinians, or you talk about genocide, that in some way that involves you in being anti-Semitic. That is disgusting. It's wicked to say that. I think the odd thing for us was we were a Jewish family living in what was largely a non-Jewish area. And so I think my sister was a bit isolated. Probably both my sisters were. I went to a school nearby, which was a 6-day school. My life was very busy, but I think they perhaps it wasn't so easy for them. And so my sister then emigrated to Israel when she was 23. I remember talking to her, say, on October the 8th, 2023, and already there was a lot of killing going on in Gaza. And I could hear in her voice there was no care for what was happening in Gaza, only care for what had happened in Israel and what had happened through the taking of hostages. So there is complete dissociation from any care for the lives which were taken in Gaza, and I was really upset by that. I mean, I put the phone down and I cried. And you add to that the fact that 3 of the younger family members are involved in the Israeli military. So, yeah, having a family who's involved in a genocidal army is not good. And I'd like to be able to talk to them all, but I know I can't. I mean, I'd talk to them. If I could talk to them, I could talk to them in a gentle way like this, but it's impossible. I've tried with my nephew when he visited, but he just shouted.
And we begin this hour with breaking news. In the past few minutes, police have moved in and made arrests at a protest in Parliament Square in Westminster, supporting the group Palestine Action, just hours after it was banned and officially designated a terrorist group.
The prescription of Palestine Action is probably the stupidest piece of legislation that I have seen in my lifetime. On the 4th of October 2025, Defend Our Juries was planning another protest in the attempt to overturn the prescription of Palestine Action. And although I'd already been arrested for a similar action previous August, I decided that it was good to get as many people as possible to sit in Trafalgar Square, and with the probability of being arrested that day.
obviously holding a placard that support a prescribed organisation, in this case Palestine Action. Time is currently 17:17.
Is this your property, yeah?
Yes.
Ready?
Good luck. Nice chatting.
Anyone on the legs?
Yeah.
Ready, set, race, lift. Guys, one at the way. Thank you.
I would like to say that protesters are the most beautiful of people. So if you want to meet the best people on earth, you go to a protest, because they're people who are acting out their principles. So looking across at, say, hundreds and hundreds of people sitting quietly protesting in Parliament Square or Trafalgar Square is a beautiful sight.